let me set the scene for you. I used to be an extremely awkward girl in her teens and 20s with no self-esteem at all. I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't want to look anybody in the eye. And I just did not have any self-esteem. Fast forward to now with the help of these 7 steps that I'm discussing in this video, I am proud of who I am. I am comfortable in my skin, and I am confident in who I am and what I am. Let's get into it. As I always say in my video, God is a given. God is number one. God is my foundation of my confidence that I've talked about multiple times in other videos, which I'll link it up above. So God is just, that's a given at all times. But let's discuss what is confidence. So confidence is your own sense and ability to get something done, to accomplish something. A feeling of self-assurance arising from one's own appreciation that they could get it done. The belief that you can or can't do something. Now, of course, there's the physical stuff like, oh, do I think I'm pretty? Do I think I'm hot? Do I think I'm this? Do I think I'm that? Am I skinny enough? Am I slim thick enough? But what about everything else? Because physical, while important, yes, it all comes from within. So as you know, we big grown around here. So we're gonna dive a little bit deeper around here, okay? And really start to work on the inner work of how to become confident at our big age. Because we big grown around here, and it all starts with the mindset, which I've said in multiple videos. It starts with your mindset. If you don't believe you can lose weight, then you can't lose weight. So let's get a little bit deeper. So number one, figure out why you're not confident in something and what you're not confident in. You might be confident in your looks, but you feel like, oh, I'm dumb as I was gonna say block of rocks, but it's sack of rocks. You have to be self-aware in order to become confident, because you have to know, this is where I feel like I'm lacking in life, and this is where I want to be. And in order to do any of that, you have to be self-aware. There's nothing worse than a big grown person who is not self-aware, who has not worked on themselves. So in order to figure out, okay, I'm not very good at this, you have to know yourself and ask yourself, why am I not confident in this certain area of my life? Like, who are you, sis? Like seriously, who are you? Besides what you do, because what you do is not who you are. You might be a content creator, but that's not who you are. If that went away tomorrow, who would you be? Who are you? Really having those in-depth conversations with yourself, with your therapist, with God, and figuring out who you are and recognizing that you don't have confidence in a certain area. And that is okay, because once you realize that you don't have confidence in a certain area of your life, that's when you can start working towards the thing that you do want to be confident in. So, example, I used to be deathly afraid of having to work and go to school. You know, that's something that just terrified me for some reason, because I think in the past, in high school, whatever, I was working at Zaxby's. Zaxby's, yes, that was my first job. And school came around and I just got really stressed out for some reason. I quit. And I allowed that situation to become my narrative of, Mercedes, you can't juggle or handle too many things. And I would look at other girls or other teens at that age and think that oh, well, dang, they could really do it all over there. They're working and in school. And this became a really big insecurity of mine. Why I let that be my narrative, who knows? But I realized that was my insecurity, and God came and put me in a situation to prove myself wrong. So he put me into a job where I had to get more education in order to stay on the job. God be like that. He be lifing out here. And that situation gave me the utmost confidence. I was terrified. Still am. I'm kind of still in the process. But once I realized, okay, I can do this. then that little insecurity of mine, my confidence went up. I don't know how I got on that story. So you really have to figure out who you are. Why are you that way? Like, I know I was that way because I freaked out in high school. Like, I was young and just, life. But why am I that way? And you really have to look under the hood. Are you afraid to look under your hood, girl? Girl, it's your hood. Look on that hood, girl. Get to know yourself. Once you know yourself, you can own yourself. Own yourself, girl. Own yourself. And it feels so good. Let me tell you, when you start knowing who you are, you start owning it. And then once you know that there's something that you want to do that you have been insecure about, didn't have any confidence in, and then you start doing it, ooh, even if it didn't go perfectly, you still feel like that girl. So know why. Just know yourself at the end of the day. Be self-aware. You cannot go anywhere in life. You cannot grow your confidence or anything without knowing who you are. Make decisions quicker. Now, as a perfectionist, I used to dwell and map out everything because I didn't want the possibility for it to fail. All right, so I'm going to plan every single little minute thing that I possibly can plan for this thing, for this event, whatever I was planning, because if I plan it in my mind, I have more control over it. And therefore, if I have more control over it, then the possibility of it failing or not going the way I wanted to go, it reduces itself. But then that would take up so much time. And I find myself trying to look at a situation at every single angle or possibility that it stopped me from making the decisions or to act on it. Start doing things even if you don't have it figured out. I don't have life exactly figured out, but I know in this moment, this is what I'm feeling in my core and my guts, and this is what I'm going to do. You do not have to have all the answers before you go after your dreams. You do not have to have steps 10, 11, 12. You could have step 1. Step 2 will come to you. So make decisions quicker. When you make decisions quicker, if something happens and it didn't go right, you just be like, oh, okay, well, that's fine because I could fix it or whatever, compared to if you dwell on it and dwell on it and dwell on it and don't make decisions, then you are going to get caught up in your mind and you are eventually going to start to think that you can't make decisions because you're not making decisions, because you're not allowing yourself to fail. You're not allowing yourself to fall down and get back up because you are so afraid of making it perfect and not making a mistake. But once you start making those mistakes or making decisions quicker, even if it doesn't go as planned, you start to realize it's not the end of the world if I made a mistake on whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And once you start realizing that, your confidence builds up. So I know that this is something that's new to me. Like I said, I can analyze a situation from every single angle, like obtuse angle, acute angle, like what kind of angle? Like I've already analyzed it. And a lot of it comes from second guessing yourself. You're second guessing, well, this happens and that happens, da, 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 da. But what really helps you to stop second guessing it is if you just go out there and do it. And when you go out there and do it, even if it didn't go right, you still did it. And that just you start to feel yourself a little bit. You be like, oh, girl, damn. Damn. And through that process, you'll start to trust yourself more because you know that even if things just go completely wrong, you still trust yourself to get back on that horse. You better get back on that horse. You've built the confidence to know that no matter what, I am going to be okay. So make decisions quicker. Of course, it's good to plan, but don't get stuck in analysis paralysis. Okay. Do not allow yourself to get stuck in a rut. If you're in a rut, just take action and do the things that's scary. Go out and do that thing. Go out and climb that mountain. Go out and shoot your shot with that guy. Go out on that blind date. Go and shoot that YouTube video. Whatever it is that you want to do, that you're nitpicking every single little thing, do it because I told you to. Stop letting your past decisions, stop letting your past lessons dictate your future decisions. Now, this goes back to me back in the day, getting completely overwhelmed with school and working. And I know like some girls are watching this like, oh my God, you're overwhelmed like that? I body that. Well, good for you, boo. I mean, I was 16 and like I just got really overwhelmed very easily. And I allowed that narrative of myself to stick in my brain for years and years and years to come, like in my 20s, and some of my 30s. Right now I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 30s right now. I let that hold me back so much. I always felt like I can only do one thing at a time. I can't handle anything else. I get overwhelmed. So I would limit myself onto the things that I could do. But then I had to think to myself, Mercedes, why are you letting 16-year-old Mercedes dictate what 30-year-old Mercedes does? That don't make no sense, girl. That don't make no sense. You are big grown now. Like, you have had experiences. You know yourself way more now than you did at 16 years old. So why are you letting this narrative completely play over and over in your head? You're being stuck in that 16-year-old mindset. So do not let your past experiences dictate your future decisions. If you thought that you were that way back then, you have to look at that as a completely separate, different person. That was a 16-year-old. This is a 30-year-old. Completely different people. We are not the same person. I have developed skills and know myself more that I can get through whatever I set my mind to. So do not let your past dictate your future. Embrace the wave. Confidence comes in waves. Like, as much as I can sit here and talk to you guys all day about confidence and building your self-esteem, I have days when I just feel like complete poop. I have days when I'm just like, I suck so much. Life is not good. Oh my gosh. And I used to beat myself up so much over having different feelings. Like, that sounds so ridiculous when you like say it out loud and you start to really realize like, wow, like I really expected myself to be a robot. I expected myself to not have any ups and downs. But once I've learned that that's just the universe, that's just the life, that's just everything has its seasons, then me recognizing that helped my confidence, honestly, because it made me realize that like, no, Mercedes, there's nothing inherently wrong with you. It's okay to have, an off day or off season. It's okay. It happens. You are human. It is okay to have these negative emotions sometimes. And what I've had to learn to do is just to separate myself from those thoughts or those feelings. They're just thoughts. They're just feelings. And once you learn to detach yourself from them and you can just look at it from like a objective point of view, you start to realize like, oh, okay, well, this little thought will probably pass. And you know what? It always does. So just know that confidence goes up and down, and you will probably never feel 100% confident with everything that you ever do, ever touch. If you do, let your girl know, because that's pretty awesome. I might think you're a narcissist. One of my biggest issues with confidence was consistency. And I used to beat myself up about this too. Like, oh my gosh, I can't stay consistent with things, like how people say, like, I should be able to want to do this every day, like filming a YouTube video. I should want to do this every single day. That part should come easy to me, like consistency. But it never did. As much as I love sitting down and talking to you guys, I want something different to do. I can't just do the same thing all the time. And coming up with my own schedule just made me realize that you don't have to be doing something perfectly in order for you to have confidence in it. Just you doing it should give you the confidence right there. Embrace those feelings. Do not let them hold you back, especially at this big age. This big age, we gotta just start accepting ourselves, the good and the bad. Like, I know that I could get in my head a lot and my emotions be like this. And now I just accept them. I accept the highs and I accept the lows. Embrace the wave. Now this kind of goes into all of them. Stop beating yourself up, okay? This is huge. Once I stopped beating myself up, the clouds opened. It is only wasting time. and putting you into a guilt rut. What do I mean by that? So, for example, I am pretty insecure to when it comes to being consistent at things. I could get all riled up, like passion, like, ooh, filming YouTube videos. Yes, yes, yes. Get all riled up in it and then just, all right, well, don't really feel like doing that anymore, at least not right now. And I used to stress out about that. I used to beat myself up. Oh my gosh, I don't feel like filming a YouTube video today. Is this even my passion? Do I even want to do this? Like, who am I? What's wrong with me? They say that you have to be consistent in order to be successful at YouTube. I'm never going to be successful at YouTube. This whole rabbit hole of things. And because I just felt like I can't be consistent at anything. And once I started looking at it differently and just allowed myself to feel the way I felt, like if I don't feel like filming that day, I stopped beating myself up about it, and I just did not film that day, because this comes down to trusting yourself, trusting and knowing that feeling that I get, that giddy feeling about filming, that's going to come back. So this also goes to knowing yourself. Like, I know that I can burn myself out because I get so heavily into something. I do it over and over and over. And then for the next couple of weeks, I might not want to touch it at all. I know that about myself. So, but I wasn't able to get there until I was able to look under the hood. And I was only able to look under the hood of myself because I stopped guilting myself. And there is no perspective or retrospective going on in your brain when all you're doing is judging yourself. That's all you're doing. And before I know it, 6 months has passed and I haven't even filmed the video because I'm stuck in the guilt. Guilt will keep you in the mud because it make you feel horrible for not doing the thing that you want to do. And all it's doing is occupying that time in your mind with things that you can be doing. You can be improving it. So you really have to learn to stop. Stop beating yourself up. Embrace it. Embrace the highs, embrace the lows, embrace how you are. And only when you embrace those low moments can you begin to overcome them. It's kind of like, the first step to admitting you have a problem is the first step to overcoming a problem is to admit that you have a problem. And it's kind of like the same thing. There's no way for you to overcome a situation if all you do is guilt yourself on it. It's just wasting your time. It really does keep you in a rut. No, I'm not even lying. Stop beating yourself up, girl. You could be out there doing the thing, girl. Pick out your positives. Now, I know when you're depressed or whatever, you can't see any positives about yourself. Trust me, I've been there. I remember in high school, my sister asking me, what do you like about yourself? And I genuinely, honestly, could not give her an answer. Whether it was physically, mentally, emotionally, I could not pick out one positive thing about myself. I could only pick out the negatives, and it was like I was living in some tunnel. But one way that I always got out of that tunnel was by doing something creative. And as some of you might know, I'm a writer and I love fantasy building, world building, and all those things. And that was something that brought me a lot of joy. And I always felt like I was really good at creating worlds and characters and things like that. I still feel like that to this day. And that was something that I held on to, that I started to build my confidence in it. I was like, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, I'm a dope writer. I'm good at creating fantasy worlds, and because I loved my creativity, it was something that I was proud of. So even though at the time that seemed so minute and little, it was one beam that I could pick out, a positive about myself that I could pick out was that one thing. So even if it's one thing that you feel like that you're good at, that you enjoy, what is a positive about yourself? Whether it be physical, emotional, mentally, whatever. What is one thing about yourself that you're like, that's pretty good. I like that. What do you genuinely like about yourself? Pick those things out. And then once you get one thing going and then you get another one, you'd be like, excuse me, I'm the ish. But you have to get out of this tunnel of focusing on all the negative and focus on the positive. And I know that is so hard to do. Trust me, I have been there. When I am depressed, I see absolutely nothing good about myself. I feel like the worst person alive. And when you're in one of those moments, sometimes you might have to rely on outside people that you trust and love, a sibling or something to tell you like, you're a good person. Okay, you are an amazing person. You're this and you're that. But I don't care how small it is. Pick out the positives, and maybe it's not something directly you. It could be something that you're happy to have. That's where all that gratitude comes in at. And I'll link a video up above because I've spoken about gratitude in so many of my other videos. But pick out the positive. Okay, about the outside world and about yourself. If it was a negative situation, where's the silver lining? Did you learn something from the situation? Then it's probably some positive in there. If you feel like you are a doormat in the situation, you could be like, I will learn next time to stand up for myself, but also at least I'm not a negative, nasty person putting that energy out into the world. So whatever it is, big or small, pick out the positives about yourself. I know if you're watching this video, I know 100% there's something positive about you. In fact, leave that down below. I want to know, what is your positive about yourself? Last but not least, what I always tell you guys, take action. Okay, take action for your life. Do not sit back and let life just pass you by because you feel like I'm all washed up. I'm too old now. Everybody else is doing it. So why do they need me to do it? Do it. Take the action. I don't care how messy it is. I don't care how scared you are. Do something small towards the life that you want to obtain. It doesn't have to be something major or big. Action is what gets you to the confidence. And I always talk about action in my videos. Action, action, action. Take action. And it's true. You can't get to anywhere up here. Yes, your mindset has to be on point. But if your mindset is on point and you're not taking any action, eventually your mindset won't be on point because that's when you go into analysis paralysis. So take action towards the goals that you want to do and the person that you want to be. Because once you start doing that, you get some coin, you get some money. You're like, oh, I did that. Oh, I got a job. Oh, I'm big girl and then I got a job. Ooh. Even if you're not where you want to be right now, you can get there. And the only way that you can get there is if you take action. So by knowing why I'm confident in something or why I'm not confident in something, making decisions quicker, taking action, not letting my past dictate who I am today, this has given me a type of confidence, not just physical confidence. Remember, we're big grown. This has given me an inner confidence that nobody and nothing can wear down or take away from me. End of story.